In this video, I'm going to talk about cropping. You can apply this to really any Photoshop cropping. I'm specifically doing this with the panoramic because we really need to do a custom size, but you can use it for cropping for any project. Okay, so the first thing I would say you need to do is figure out what the size of your photo is. So you can do that by going to Image, Image Size. Okay, and then over on the right, I would change this to inches. Inches and pixels per inch, so you have an idea of what it is kind of sized to. Okay, so if this symbol is locked, you can try to change the size in here to be full inches or half inches, and that's my requirement. If this is not locked though, you're going to get warping, either stretching vertically or horizontally, and you don't want that, so make sure that's locked. That's locked. Okay, so inches, whole inches or half inches. That's my rules for cropping. That way I know you did it in an intentional size. So what we can do is just try to change this to 44. Oops, 44. Okay, you see that gives me 44, but this is not an inch or half inch. So next thing I'm gonna do is set my crop tool for my height to 11.5. I'll just lose a little bit of height, and then I'll keep my width 44. Resolution should always be 300. Okay, so we're going to click OK. All right, so the next thing I have to do is go to my crop tool. The crop tool shortcut while this is processing is C, like cat. Okay, so C. All right, now if we choose width and resolution and we know our size, we can just enter it here. So my width is 44. It's the first value. Make sure it says IN. And then my height is going to be 11.5. As I said in the previous screen, it should always be 300 pixels per inch for the resolution. Okay, so what we can do is we can drag this in. So let's say I decided I want to lose a little bit of the left side and top of the photo, I can drag it in. Just be careful not to drag it out. You will get a chunk of space that's going to end up being part of your image, and you don't want that. Okay, so if you have it cropped the way that you want it, you can go ahead and hit the check mark. And then if you ever just want to verify that it actually does crop to the right size while this is processing, you can go ahead and go back to image, image size. Okay, and that's correct. Okay, one other thing. Some of you may have chunks missing from the edges of your panoramic that you need to crop out. So if that is the case, instead of doing it the way I just showed you, what you first want to do is clear out your numbers, okay? So you hit this clear button and you don't want any values in here. Then I'm going to click off the crop tool and then back on just to kind of reset it. Then you should be able to bring in the crop however you need to get rid of the chunks that aren't a part of your photo. Now the problem with this is we don't know what size this is, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pretend this was chunks I needed to crop out, and I'm going to apply it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to image, image size. We're going to figure out what it's closest to. So in this case, this is closest to 41 and 10.5. Okay. Again, as long as this is locked in the screen, I can manually change it here and see what happens. So that solved the width issue, but not the height. So I'll click OK. And if you were cropping to get rid of the chunks on the sides and you didn't know what size you wanted it to be in the first place, now you're going to have to do a second crop with the actual size. Okay? So again, the closest values for this one would be 41 and 10.5. Okay, this is a little weird. You have to clip off the crop tool and the back on to kind of reset it. Otherwise, it's going to think you already cropped. Okay, so now I'm going to enter those new values, 44 and 10.5. And then 300, and again I can move it around, so I'm losing a little bit here, so but if I expand, I'm going to expand beyond. I can't really do that. Okay, so it was 11.5. I just made a typo. Okay, so I can crop in a little bit more, move it around, just don't move it past the image. And then you're going to go ahead and click check mark. Okay, so to summarize, if you don't need to crop off anything, if your image looks good, but you just need to make sure it's in inches or half an inch, You can first go check it, image size, see what it's close to, then enter those values in the crop option window at the top. If you need to crop off stuff that was not completed by the panoramic photo merge, then what you want to first do is clear out your crop, get rid of the stuff, then go to image size, see what it's close to, and finally enter those values in the crop here to recrop it. So in the second scenario, you actually do have to crop it 2 times. Okay, and that's it for cropping.